Okay, so today we're going to talk about, welcome first and foremost. Please feel free to jump in and ask questions as we go through, okay? Today we're going to talk about, let me just see if I can get that the right size, how to build a CEO dashboard. Critical piece for being as a CEO. We're going to build something that's going to change the way your business can work immediately. It's one page, and I've seen it transform companies from $2 million or $300,000 to $20 million and beyond. It's designed to be really simple. So I'm just not getting that right on my presentation. Just bear with me. There we go. So who's the session for? It's for everybody, but it's particularly designed for CEOs and CEOs leading private companies, where you have teams that are growing, where your complexity is increasing. And if you want to build a business that can run without you one day, this is the right room to be in. I just want you to have a quick read of the sort of pain points that my clients talk about when they join me. And just throw in the chat any that resonate with you if you can. Now, I should say that, by the way, Crystal, my EA, has put a copy of the workbook into the chat that you can download. And as we go through, she'll also put in there some AI prompts we're going to use as we go. Bottleneck resonates. Anything else? Who's exhausted? Yeah, Robert, absolutely. I was speaking to Adele yesterday. I think she's feeling a bit of that. Okay. Everybody still depends on me. All of them. Thanks, Adele. Growth feels risky, not rewarding. Clear path, Jason. Thank you. Yeah. So look, I think one of the key messages I'm going to give you today is that no man or woman is an island, and you're not alone. So just by the comments that came into the chat just then, all CEOs feel this way. And part of this workshop and workshop series I'm running every couple of weeks for a while is about helping you get out of some of these pain points. Now, I want to show you the fellow here. I keep meaning to change the photo here because Scott I know very well. In the bottom right, Scott Tannis. Scott was the CEO of a company called Western Digital, which is Western Financial, I should say. He sold it in 2013 and he sold it for $440 million. He started it from scratch, like you guys are doing. He did some research about when their growth scale, when it stalls. And essentially, he identified a number of valleys of death. Now, this is US data, 2015-ish, so 28 million firms in the US at the time. What he found was 96% of companies in America don't get past $1 million revenue. Only 0.4% of companies get past 10 million in revenue. And only 17,000 companies out of 28 million in the US got past 50 million. This is rare air up here. What he found was that to get past that first valley of death, and by the way, I've thrown in here a number of FTEs because I actually think the revenue is okay, but I actually think the number of FTEs is actually the significant valley of death as you're growing. But getting past that first valley of death, you need to hire a second in command. You need to start building processes. It can't all be in your head. And there's a fundamental change in the way you as a founder runs your business when you've got 10 and more staff. The second valley of death, which is that 10 million or 25, this is to get to the 10 million or the 25. This is when you need a CFO. Middle management becomes more critical and intentionality in building culture becomes more important. And this is a conversation I was having with someone yesterday about how a CEO speaks at all times and how often they speak is absolutely critical when it comes to scaling a company. I think the CEO does four things. Firstly is set the purpose, set the values, set the strategy, the vision, set the strategy, and then operationalize it. And but when I say operationalize it, I mean taking your vision and strategy 3 years out and operationalizing it down to a quarter, but also talk about the strategy and vision until you're blue in the face, and then keep talking about it. Then I was with a CEO and his leadership team last week, and they've together we've scaled from 12 to 64 staff in the last 3 years, and they're about this year they'll scale to 100. And the new general manager just said, "Look, I can't get it. These guys, his staff, significant part of the business, they just aren't getting the strategy." And I said to him, "How often are you talking about it?" I'm going to apologise. I have lots of tradesmen here running a renovation today, and my idiot dogs have just decided to bark at the plumbers. So if you hear some noise in the background, I'm apologising. So talk about your vision and strategy until you're blue in the face. Second one is the CEO, second key role of the CEO is to get A players at all levels in your team, at least 80%. An A player is high on culture of your business and high on productivity in their role. And not only getting the right people on your bus, on your business, in your business, but getting them doing the right things in the right way with accountability. And that's what this session's about. And then also with coaching to help them rise. The third thing a CEO does is make sure you've got enough cash to pay for it all. It's great to scaling sucks cash and growth sucks cash. And fourthly is operationalizing your systems, processes, SOPs, so that they can scale with your business. Off tangent a bit. I'm coming back to the Scott Tanner slide. As you grow, the culture becomes so much more important. Now, let's look at Australia now. And if we think about just going back, only 4% of firms in America get over 1 million in revenue. Only 0.4% get over 10 million in revenue. Have a look at the Australian numbers. They're very close. And it's interesting, I've done research on Mexico, I've done research on Europe, and the numbers are very close. 96 don't get there, only 4% get above 1 million, only 0.4% get above 10 million. And the FTEs do equate. So going back to my slide about you're not alone, you're definitely not alone. So the key question really is, are you leading blind? Here's a question for you. How many of you have a one-page, we'll call it a dashboard, call it Excel spreadsheet, whatever, a one page that can tell you whether you're winning right now? Right? Hands up, or actually, can you put why or no in the chat if you can? Do you have a one pager that tells you whether or not your business is winning right now? Great, Christian. Oh, excellent. For finances, yes, Shirley. 3 or 4 pages. Okay, that's a good result. Much better than normal. Most growth stage CEOs that I work with are firefighting every week. They're second guessing their numbers. The numbers are either unclear or they arrive too late to do anything about them. Everyone on the team has their own version of the truth. Sales says one thing, ops says another, finance says something else. And you as a CEO and the founder, you're stuck with reacting instead of driving. The reacting is really a hidden tax. Profit leaks that you don't see. Growth stalls without warning. You're stuck in the weeds and exhausted, and your team makes decisions in the dark. So flying blind is really costing you money, time, and peace of mind. And that's what we're going to fix today. So why listen to me? Lots of coaches out there, lots of coaches using AI to pretend they're coaches. I suppose the key thing that stands me apart is I've been a CEO 4 times. Largest company with 600 staff over 9 countries. Smallest company is probably where I am now with me and Chris Sullivan and about 6 or 8 contractors who work with me. I've been non-executive director 5 times. Currently still am of a superannuation fund. I've coached over 200 plus founders. And where I sit is in that 1 to 2 million up to $20 million founders. And I help you build high-performing teams, strengthen leadership, and then get your life back. I suppose the key thing for me is I made the mistakes, including wasting tens of thousands of dollars on dashboards and business intelligence tools that broke and were never used. So today I'm going to present to you a very simple dashboard. Okay, there is an unhidden agenda here, and I just want to be really upfront about it. Today isn't a sales pitch, but there is a next step for some of you. By the end of the session, you'll know whether we're going to offer you a complimentary game plan session, and you'll know whether or not it makes sense to you. That session is free, and I want to explain why. I only take on a small number of clients at any one time. And because they tend to be very long engagements, I want to make sure that I take the right clients on it and that you are right, you think I'm right for you as well. So part of my, we'll call it a sales process, is I give lots and lots of material like this session. If you go onto my YouTube channel, you'll see heaps and heaps of material for CEOs and founders, including over 130 plus interviews with CEOs like yourselves who are scaling their businesses. So this is part of my number one, giving stuff away to help you grow your business. And if you think at some stage that
are you going to fire? No, I looked at it, I saw it, and I just looked at the first
one
one about voter fraud in someplace, Georgia. There's a lot of voter 2020 voters. And I didn't see the whole thing. I guess during the end of it, there was
Crystal, you can find who that is talking, and so we can.
Like I would like to, but I didn't see it. I looked at the first part, and it was really about voter fraud and the machines, how crooked it is, how disgusting. Then I gave it to the people. Generally, they look at the whole thing, but I guess somebody didn't. And they posted, and we took it down. And but that was a voter fraud that nobody talks about. They don't like to talk about that. Most. We took it down as soon as we found out.
The number of Republicans are calling on Adobe Acrobat Studio is on you. What can PDF do marketing needs?
I know we haven't fixed it. There with the
AI breakdowns on channel. Apologize for that.
There we go. Sorry about that. We've had enough politics in Australia this morning with the opposition without jumping into America, I think. Okay, so the unhidden agenda. We're going to offer a complimentary coaching call. Love you to take it up. You can take it up now, you can take it up later, but I just want to be upfront with you what this is about. This is not a hard sales pitch. So the simple solution for a CEO dashboard, I don't believe is software. I don't believe is business intelligence tools, and I don't believe it's dashboards made by analysts, and I'm going to show you why. The key thing is I've tried all of those and I've spent tens of thousands of dollars and they all failed for the same reason. No one owned the numbers. The data was someone else's problem, and when it broke, no one cared enough to fix it. So I think the solution is much simpler than that. Best practice when it comes to company scorecards, CEO scorecards, keep it simple. If it doesn't fit on one page, it doesn't work. The moment your dashboard needs scrolling or has multiple tabs, I reckon you've lost. Secondly, track it weekly. Monthly is too slow. By the time you see a problem in monthly data, it's already 6 weeks old. Weekly gives you time to act. And this is the one that surprised people. Make it manual. We don't want to be building Monday boards. We don't want to be building, as I said, business intelligence, etc. Why manual? Because when your team enters the numbers themselves, they own the numbers. They can't hide from a number that they typed in with their own hands. That's the difference between a report and accountability. If you can't measure it, you can't optimize it. And most CEOs I meet have plenty of numbers, but not the right ones. That's why they're flying blind. Now, I'm going to jump sideways just a little bit for a second. Anybody that's been on one of these trainings in the past knows that my process is a mixture of, number one, 20 plus years experience of being a CEO and also running a CEO coaching mentoring business. Secondly, significant and detailed IP. One of you on the call today saw some of that I sent through yesterday, and I think we'll just say it's fairly impressed. And then the third thing is accelerating you through the process with AI. Okay, building a CEO dashboard like this could take you weeks. That's not our goal. Our goal here is to help you and your team accelerate the process. So me and my experience, I'm going to say really good IP, and using AI to accelerate the process. Okay, so how do you use AI to accelerate the process? The first thing you do is have a think. You don't put anything into AI at all until you have built up a strong brief. Okay, build up a strong brief. You want to tell the AI the context, the outcome, the style, and the constraints, just like you would a top performer in your leadership team. Now, a little tool that I use is Whisper Flow. I'll put that in the chat. Oops. Okay, Whisper Flow. Whisper Flow is a really cool piece of AI. It doesn't cost anything. If I'm going to dictate, actually, I'll just show you. I'm going to press the control button on my keyboard. Hey, Whisper Flow, I want to document thoughtful prompt design, first 5%. AI is only as strong as the brief you give it. A vague prompt creates vague work. A clear prompt creates sharp results. Tell AI the context, the outcome, the style, and the constraints, just like you would a top performer. Oh, come on. I can't. Oh, sorry, I've turned it off. What Whisper Flow will do is take my dictation and immediately format it and immediately drop it into the chat if I hadn't turned it off. So think about how much quicker I talk than I do type. Use something like Whisper Flow. You can use your recording button on your iPad, on your iPhone. Anything that allows you to accelerate yourself. So don't try and type this stuff in. Just dictate it and let an AI accelerate you along. So thoughtful prompt design, first 5%. The way I work, and I'm going to show you in a bit, so bear with me. Are you seeing my screen, guys? 4 roles of AI delegation? Yes or no? We are. Great. Sorry, Crystal's sending me messages. So I don't know why the chat isn't coming up. I do apologize. So there it is, Whisper Flow. Okay, so thoughtful prompts. Load up the IP. Load up the IP. I'm going to show you how to do this. Let the AI do the next 70%. One of the key tricks here, in your thoughtful prompts, you start with, here's an expert panel. I'm going to show you what that looks like. But also at the end, ask me one question at a time to clarify your response. Ask me one question at a time to clarify your response. And then let it download to you, preferably to your team. Let them do the next 20%. And the team gives you the outcome, and you spend 5%. So essentially, you as a CEO are spending the first 5% of the last 5% of the time building whatever it is you do. I wanted to introduce that to you so you can see where the idea behind it in a moment. So, what's a CEO dashboard look like? As I said, first and foremost, it's one page. It looks like a spreadsheet, and that's the point. No fancy software, no logins, no integrations that break. This could actually be on the wall of your office, the wall of your meeting room. This single page will tell you whether you're winning every week. At the top, you've got evergreen metrics. I'm going to explain what all these mean. These are the numbers that matter regardless of what's happening in your business. Revenue, profit margin, cash collected, revenue per employee as examples. They don't change from quarter to quarter. They're your permanent scorecard. Below that are your North Star metrics. I'm going to take you through that as well. These are the leading indicators specific to your strategy right now. And then each function in your business product marketing, sales, success, technology, etc. Each has 3 numbers each. One page, and if it doesn't fit on one page, it won't work. So, guys, you're all going to get a copy of this presentation. Just as a reminder, Chris will put it in. Let's zoom on the first thing, the metrics themselves. This column is where most CEOs get it wrong. They track too many things, or the wrong things, or things that felt important 6 months ago but aren't anymore. Your evergreen metrics are constants. As I said, revenue is always there, profit margin is always there, cash collected tells you if the money is actually coming in or not just booked. Revenue per employee tells you if you're scaling efficiently or just adding headcount. A client of mine had 40 people and $4 million in revenue. If you think about it, that's $100,000 per employee. After we built their dashboard and they could see their numbers every week, within 18 months, they were at $8 million with 45 people, nearly double the revenue per head. The visibility changed the behavior of the team. Your North Star is different. This is strategy specific. So for a SaaS company, services as a software, it might be monthly recurring revenue. For a services business, it might be repeat client revenue or average project value. As an example, in my business as a coach and mentor, I track lifetime value of a client. I'm very lucky that I have sticky clients. One of my clients graduated last week, but he'd been with me for 4.5 years and was well and truly ready to do it all himself. So think about what are the things here that, and I'm going to take you through some more examples of this, the things that may change over time. And then each function, sales, marketing, product, etc., has 3 numbers, not 10, not 5, only 3. So that for sales, that might be pipeline value, win rate, the average deal size. For marketing, could be marketing qualified leads, cost per lead, conversion rate. For people, it could be voluntary turnover, time to fill, the A player percentage. Less is more. If you track everything, you track nothing. So, next piece. The owner. It's absolutely imperative that every single metric has a name next to it, not a team, not a department, a person, the one person ultimately responsible. This is where accountability becomes real. If revenue is owned by your head of sales, that's their number. It's not yours, it's the head of sales, not the sales team, one person's name. And this is when you start finding out that you don't have A players. Because when they start scurrying and ducking and weaving and don't want to own the number, you've got the wrong person in the team. Does that make sense? Yeah? So what happens in practice? Before the dashboard, you'd ask in a meeting, how are sales going, and get a vague answer. Pretty good. We've got some good deals in the pipeline. After the dashboard, the conversation is different. Sarah's number is $450,000 pipeline value this month. She had a 380,000 on Monday. It's yellow. She already knows she needs to explain the gap and what she's going to do about it. No chasing, no micromanaging. The number does the talking. When I say make it manual, this is why. Sarah has typed the number 380,000 into the G sheet or the Excel spreadsheet herself. She doesn't get it from a report that she may not have read. She knows exactly where she stands. That's ownership. Okay, I've got a couple of new clients right now, and both of them, yeah, this happens all the time, guys. Both of them, their business development team, the squirming that's going on when we start tracking numbers like this weekly is extraordinary. So, sorry, bear with me. So over here, this is where the numbers really come alive. So I've just gone a bit too far there. So you target versus your monthly target versus your monthly actual. And week 1, 2, 3, 4, plus a remainder company from a column for months that can't divide neatly into 4 weeks. Here's how it works. Let's say your monthly revenue is 200,000. You break it into roughly 50,000 per week. Each week, the number goes in. Week 1, 55 grand. Great, you're ahead. Week 2, 35,000. Now you're behind. Week 2, not at the end of the month when it's too late. One of the things I talk to my clients a lot about is preloading the year. Because in Australia, Christmas and January can become very slow. And what we don't want is the sales team taking 4 to 6 weeks off and coming back with no appointments. What we don't want is an engineering team spending most of December and January doing nothing because the sales team haven't preloaded the year and don't have work coming in. We have trends in our business. We need to understand those trends, but we have trends, monthly trends as well. So here's our monthly goal. We know that first week was good, second week was bad, and we know that we need to work on that. So that's the difference between leading and reacting. Weekly tracking gives you the time to act. Monthly tracking gives you time to make excuses. Every Monday morning, your team should enter their numbers. It takes them 2 minutes. That's it. 2 minutes for total clarity. I'm going to come back to the notes section in a moment. And this is where the magic happens. Anybody that knows me, and if you go back and look at any of the trainings I've done, it's always red, yellow, green. Monthly actual versus monthly target with a color-coded status. Green means you're on track or above budget. Yellow means you're within range, but it needs attention. Red means you're off track and it needs action now. One of my clients, CEO clients, told me for the first time in 8 years of running his business, he sat down on Monday morning and knew in 10 minutes exactly where he should. No phone calls, no chasing, no surprises. It was just there. And that's what this does. You open it up and you see the colors and you know where to focus your energy. Green, leave it alone. The person who owns it is doing the job. Don't micromanage success. Yellow, keep an eye on it. Maybe a quick conversation. What do you need to get this to green? Red, that's a priority conversation this week. What happened? What's the fix? And when will we see it move? And if need be, where do you step in to help make it happen? You stop managing everything equally and start managing by exception. And that's how you get your time back. My business, what do? I help the business founders and CEOs scale their business and get your time back so that if you choose not to work in the business, you don't have to. If you choose, the problem with being a founder and CEO is your whole heart and soul is in this thing. You need time to let your brain rest. This is one of the key tools I use. Okay. So a case study. Let me show you what it looks like in practice. So one of my clients was a $6 million CEO, constantly firefighting, chasing late reports, growth had flatlined. We built the dashboard. 1 North Star metric, 5 CEO level evergreen numbers, 3 per functional team. Within 3 months, 20% revenue growth. The weekly leadership team meeting went from 1 hour of arguing to under 30 minutes of focused decisions. And the CEO stepped out of daily operations for the first time in years. Same business, same people, same market. The only thing that changed was visibility and accountability. Clarity plus accountability equals growth plus freedom. That's the formula. And that's exactly what you're going to start building today. I'm going to say a word of warning here. When you start doing this, quite often you might lose a team member or two. They'll self-select out because they don't like being held accountable. And that's not a bad thing. It's just something to be aware of, and that gives you the opportunity to replace with high values, high productivity in the role, if that in fact happens. So let's talk about North Star. What is a North Star? How many of you have heard of a North Star metric before? Yes, no in the chat. Okay. One yes, lots of no's. That's good. So what is a North Star metric? Before we start, I just want you to understand the different types of metrics. So the North Star metric is a single number that reflects the core value your business delivers to customers. The single number that reflects the core value your business delivers to customers. It's not revenue. Revenue is an output. We're going to talk about leading and lagging a bit later on. North Star is the thing that drives revenue. It aligns a whole team around one clear focus. It helps everybody prioritize, and it defines whether what winning actually looks like. Can you have more than one? Yeah, ideally no. One North Star for maximum clarity, but if you have a genuinely distinct product lines, you might track a secondary metric alongside it. The key question is, if this number is growing, does it mean the business is fundamentally healthy? If yes, that's your North Star. So let's give you some examples so you can actually understand what that looks like. Okay, these are big companies, but that's okay. Spotify, time spent listening. LinkedIn, active user connections. Uber, rides completed. Can you see why that would be a North Star? Airbnb, nights booked. Yep, Spotify doesn't obsess on oversubscribers. They track time spent listening because if people are listening more, retention follows, upgrades follow, revenue follows. Uber doesn't track revenue directly. They track rides completed. More rides means more drivers stay, more riders stay, more revenue. For your business, the question is, we're going to do this for your business at the moment. What's the equivalent? What's the one activity or outcome that, if it's growing, tells you everything is working? For a consulting firm, it might be repeat engagement rate. For a SaaS business, it might be weekly active users. For a trades business, it might be jobs completed per week. Hold that question in your mind and we're going to come back to it. So we're going to look now at your evergreen metrics. How many of you use AI, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini? Can you put yes or no into the chat for me again? Just want to get an idea. Yes. Is there anybody that is not using it? Anybody scared of AI? Scared what it's going to do to your business? Oh, okay. Christian not using it. Not regularly, Jason. Thank you for being honest. Guys, you need to start using it. You need to pick one and you need to experiment because otherwise another company is going to leave you behind. They're going to win and you're not. Christian, we're in the process of picking the right tool. That's a really good one, Christian. So let's talk about what that means. I use 5. Why do I use 5? Because I'm experimenting all the time. If you think in the whole scheme of things, so I use my preferred engine now, AI engine now, is Claude, Claude. It's become my preferred engine in the last 3 weeks because they've fundamentally improved it for business. It is phenomenal. You can go into Claude and dictate into Claude and it will build a landing page for you. You can go into Claude and load a whole pile of IP up, get it to ask you one question at a time and get it to build a playbook, which is what I'm using it for, a playbook and a tool and an example tool for every aspect of everything I coach. I'm on a plan with Claude, $100 US, $150 a month. I reckon if I was trying to do this project, which is codify my IP, I'd have a team of 3 or 4 and it'd take a year. I also use ChatGPT. That's more for personal stuff. ChatGPT I find a bit sycophantic. Gemini from Google is phenomenal because it taps into the whole Google system. If you want to do deep research, I'm happy to invent a book. I'll come back. We'll put the list in. The one that is extraordinary is Notebook LM. I took YouTube URLs for the 130 interviews I did with I've done with CEOs. I plugged them into Notebook LM and I said, go into these 130 times 45-minute interviews and tell me what the 10 key learnings from these CEOs are over the whole 130. It came back and told me that. So think about how long that would have taken. 130 times 45, go in and find the top lessons, then compare and contrast and come up with a list of 10. Just like the time saving, guys. Adele, Jonathan, have you used contented AI based in Christchurch to receive a big boost in investment funding this week? I have not. I'll have a look at it though, Adele. Thank you. It's interesting with the Kiwis. I speak to Kiwis quite often. It's amazing how far ahead of us they are sometimes. Okay, so what I want you to do is open your preferred AI tool, whichever you use. You can join ChatGPT for free now, guys, if you want to. And what we're going to do, Crystal, can you please paste in there the AI prompt I gave you earlier? Okay. Oh, she's good. So I want you to copy and paste this prompt into your AI of choice. Now, Crystal is also going to upload, if she hasn't already, a copy of the CEO dashboard and a copy of this workshop, the workbook. So I want you to, actually, I'll bring up Claude and show you how I do it. Bear with me. Bear with me. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. I'm going to bring up Claude. There we are. I'm going to share this with you. Okay, can you see my screen? Happy Friday, Jonathan Paul. This is Claude. This is a desktop app. Okay, so I'm going to paste that AI prompt in. I'm going to upload. See the cross. I'm going to add files or photos, and I'm going to come on. So I'm just finding the right file. You've got the file that I want you to open in the chat. Okay, so I'm just uploading the two files. You'll see it coming up. Claude, you'll find works slower than ChatGPT and Gemini because I've got it in deep thinking mode. And I'm now going to press something. Let's have a look and see what happens. So notice what I've done here. So I've uploaded the IP. Or in your case, if you're doing something thinking, you can upload 10 files every prompt. You can upload Excel spreadsheets, you can upload Word docs, you can dictate into it. Yeah, all of the stuff we've talked about. Bear with me for a second, please. Okay, great, Jonathan. Let's step into this panel for you. Before we dive in, I want you to acknowledge the dashboard template you've uploaded. It's a solid quarterly tracking structure. It should be solid. Claude built it for me. I briefed Claude how to build it. So I've uploaded the IP. I've uploaded the background. I have asked it to act as an expert panel. So one of the things about AI, you don't want to ask it to be an expert. So if you want to be an expert in accounting, it'll take every person that says it's an expert in the world, and they could be really crap or they could be really good. So what I do is I name the experts I wanted to use. So in this case, Bill Campbell. Oh, and then the third thing I do is give it the prompt, and then I get it to ask me one question at a time. So Bill Campbell coached Steve Jobs and Eric Schultz, so boss of Apple and the boss of Google at the same time. He's known as the $1 trillion coach. So you coach CEOs scaling from $1 to $10 million, but let's talk about your business, HG Advisors, Scale Up OS specifically. What does your revenue model look like today? So you can see it's going to ask me one question at a time. So I'm not going to go any further with this because what I actually want is for you to do it. So open your AI of your choice, upload the CEO dashboard that Crystal put into the chat, upload the actual workbook, and then copy and paste in that that AI prompt. And now I'm going to turn a timer on for 8 minutes. Go for it. Let's see what you come up with. Any questions? I'm just going to be here. Okay. Nick, I saw that. I'm not quite sure why, but if you just keep going through, let's see how we go. Four minutes to go. Okay, how'd we go? Anybody like to come off mute and tell us how you felt about that little process? Come on, Adele, I'm going to call on you.
Hi, Jonathan. I was, just saying that it was excellent and very interesting. And then I thought I could type a lot more in there. One of the things that was really interesting was the questions that it asked you. An additional thing I uploaded was in formation mode, one-page strategic plan. So it could have a little bit of a look at what we were thinking some of the metrics could be, and it's come back with entirely different metrics and a lot more defined. So yeah, really useful. And another way, it just extend your thinking, think about something else. Yeah, I've got quite a bit of reading to do after this.
Wait till you see the IP and the prompts for just
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah.
Guys, I shared with Adele yesterday one aspect of the model, which is all about future planning, your people strategy to fit with your strategy. And once again, very similar concept. Here's the IP, here's the tool, here's an example tool, that's one thing I didn't give you today was an example tool, and here's the prompt. And this is a new way of me doing it in the last couple of months, and we're getting so much traction with it, as you can see. Anybody else want to come off and give a view? Robert or Mark or Christian?
Yeah, I'm happy to. It was, we're a franchise business, so we're the franchisor. So within the second question, then actually saying to Gemini, yeah, look, we're a franchisor, we're a service-based waterproofing company, our franchisees are Australia-wide. And yeah, it then got very deep into the questions and spat back what the metrics are pretty quickly, which is good.
Were the metrics helpful?
Yes. Yeah, and it didn't just go by sales, it's also, there's the gross revenue of all the franchisees, but then it's looking at new builder acquisition rate, franchise health index as well, revenue per headquarter employee, and network retention.
Cool. Cool. Okay, so that's worked. What about you, Christian?
Yeah, look, we are a property service-based company, so we do sales and management. So we've got 4 different streams of income that feed into the business. So it was nice to be able to go through some of the questions they asked me. I've never actually thought about it before. So it opened up my eyes to a few things that I was overlooking just in that little exercise. I found it very, very helpful. Absolutely.
And do you know what becomes really interesting is when you do this with your team. Yeah, bring your leadership team in and actually do it together. And so that's the only exercise I'm going to run today. But I do have, AI prompts and IP, obviously, etc., for you to build your North Star, for you to build your leadership team prompts and everything else. Keep that in mind. If you decide you want to do as I said, this company growth call, we could do some of that together. The key thing though is the more you bring your leadership team along for the ride with this when you're doing it, the more you bring them along for the ride with you, the more powerful an effect it has, because they can't then say, you're doing this, you've done this and you're imposing on me. You want the team to be part of the of setting these. Okay, let's think about the next bits. Okay. The next key thing. This is one key KPI for every single leader. At least 80% of the leadership team are A players. At least 80% of the leaders. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing. Where am I? One key KPI. At least 80% of the leadership team are A players. Now, this sits above everything else. Now, so what's an A player? It's not a vague feeling. It's measurable. An A player scores high on 2 axes: custom fit, culture fit, and productivity. Culture fit means they live the company values, not just when things are easy, but when things are hard. Productivity, that means they constantly deliver results in their role. High on both, A player. High productivity but low culture fit, that's a brilliant person who's toxic to the team. Think about the top salesperson, but who'll screw anybody over to get the deal. Most CEOs I work with know exactly who their A players are. They also know who isn't one. The dashboard makes this visible and keeps it honest. Here's the thing, if you don't have at least 80% A players on your leadership team, your dashboard numbers will never stay green. The dashboard tells you what is happening. Your people tell you why. This one metric, at least 80% of the leadership team are A players, this is what keeps me up at night as a coach, because everything else flows from it. Okay? And as over time, we're looking for greater than 80%. Just want to talk about the difference between leading and lagging KPIs. Once again, critical. Lagging KPIs tell you what already happened. Revenue last month, profit last quarter, churn last year. They're the rearview mirror. Leading KPIs tell you about what's about to happen. Pipeline value, proposal set, customer satisfaction scores, employee engagements. They're the windshield. Most CEOs only track lagging indicators. That's like driving by looking in the rearview mirror. That's one of the reasons, by the way, I asked you to upload this presentation as part of the prompt, because your AI is drawing bits like this. The problem with looking at lagging in the mirror is by the time you see the problem, you've already hit it. Your dashboard needs both. Lagging indicators confirm whether your strategy is working. Leading indicators give you the time to adjust before it's too late. So when you pick your metrics, ask yourself, does this number tell me what happened, or does it tell me what's coming? You want to mix, but lean towards leading indicators. That's where the power is. Now, how about we give you an example? Let's use my business as an example. So my business, bit of background, I'm 65. I've got 2 kids. We adopted, they're 12. One just started high school. I didn't want to go back to a big CEO role. So I fell into this coaching and mentoring role in 2016. Over time, I've thought about having a really big coaching company, but at the end of the day, I've chosen to look after 20 clients at any one time. That's where I'm at. How do I recruit my client? If I think about my leading and lagging, I recruit my clients by giving away my IP, by teaching. I know that the key numbers for me are the number of leads we bring in via these webinars, which lead to the number of appointments, the number of conversations I have. And there's a two-phase process in there. And that's all about me identifying whether or not any of you are the right client for me and whether or not I can actually make a difference to you. Let's reverse it. Can I make a difference? Are you my ideal client profile, and are you the right client for me? Because there's a bit of a no dickheads rule in my business. So I don't want to be working with someone for years that I don't like, and vice versa. Then leads, applications, proposal sent, and sales. That's my dashboard. It's really quite simple. And I think your dashboards can be the same. So leading is number of conversations, number of workshop sign. We generally get about 130 sign up for the workshops. We get about 39 turn up. That's the average numbers. So number of people turn up for workshops, number of conversations. They're my leading. The lagging is number of applications and sales. And that's what you're looking to do in your business. The other thing you need to think about is what bare ask minimums. I was taught this by a sales coach called Steve Jensen, and I brought him in to help with one of my clients 4 or 5 years ago, and he's still with my client. This changes everything. So a bare ask minimum is not a target. It's the minimum accepted standard, the line below which things are simply not okay. If you think about it this way, your revenue target might be 200,000 a month. Your bare ask minimum might be 150,000. Below 150,000, something is fundamentally broken, not just a slow month. Bands remove the grey area. When someone's number is above their band, they're in the game. When it's below, then that's not a coaching conversation. That's a performance conversation. On your dashboard, the band is effectively the line between yellow and red. Green means you're hitting target, yellow means you're between BAM and the target, and red means you're below the minimum. And that's how you build accountability without micromanagement. The numbers do the talking. You don't have to. I want you to write this one down. It's probably the most important thing I'm going to say today. Good is not subjective. With clear numbers, there's no debate. Either we're on track or we're not. Either we hit the BAM or we didn't. Either 80% of our leaders are A players or they aren't. That's how you build accountability without micromanagement. You don't need to watch over people's shoulders. Numbers tell the truth every single day and every single week. That's what gives you the freedom. Not working less, knowing more. And your job as CEO is to turn red into yellow and yellow into green. That's it. That's the entire game. You're not managing everything. You're not in every meeting. You're not approving every decision. You look at the dashboard, you see what's red, you make sure there's a plan to move it. See what's yellow, you check whether it needs help or just time. Green, leave it alone. Don't fix something that's not broken. That's how you go from firefighting to leading, from exhausted to being effective. And so how do you use the dashboard? What happens on a Monday morning? Your team enters their numbers before the meeting. Takes 2 minutes each. And then they put notes in the notes column where things are yellow and red. You open the dashboard, 10 minutes, that's all you need. You know, you're looking for, ask 3 questions. Are we on track? What's off track? What's the fix? Your leaders report their numbers, they're not the excuses. If it's red, they already know. They come to the meeting with a plan, not a story. The problems surface in week 2, not month 2. You move faster, you make better decisions, and your meeting is done in under 30 minutes. Simple rhythm, total clarity, and that's how you scale without burning out. Needless to say, I have a tool and a playbook, etc., to build a weekly leadership team agenda. If you'd like that, please reach out. And I'm going to give you a story that came up. This is literally last week. A new client rang me and he said he wanted to share something with me. He's been working with me for 2.5 months. He told me that the clarity he gained from the tools we built together, these are the strategy tools, and that working out what, it's important, pardon me, as importantly as working out what to do, but working out what not to do. Steve Jobs used to say he was as proud of what Apple didn't do as he was of what Apple did do. This 2.5 months of work and putting the dashboard in place and using the tools, he grew his revenue by 250 grand in 2.5 months. Needless to say, I was pretty chuffed. But that's just some feedback from a client just the other day. So essentially, guys, you have 2 decisions. Oops, sorry. Do nothing different or decide deliberately. If you do nothing different, go back to the same meetings, the same foggy numbers, the same firefighting, hope that clarity appears on its own. You won't. You already know that. Option 2 is decide deliberately. Take what you've started today and turn it into something real. Build the dashboard. Get your team's numbers locked in. Create the rhythm that gives you clarity and control. Option 1 is not failure, it's drift. You just stay busy. You stay reactive and another year passes faster than expected. Option 2 is a decision, not a commitment to coaching, a commitment to clarity. That's the choice in front of you now. So I mentioned that I've been mentioning other tools. This is my model that I use with my CEO class. Everything we worked on today fits inside this model. And in fact, if you look at the purple at the base, in the middle, it says scorecards and accountability that drives results. This is one of the 5 tools that fit in that green box. I believe that to build a $10 million plus business that can run without you, and in fact, I have clients who are at the 20, 30 million markets using all of this stuff. You need three pillars. One is the clarity in the plan. This is the strategy. This is the accountability. This is moving you from owner reliance to owner freedom. That's on the bottom. That's the foundation. On the left-hand side is the whole team build piece. How do we build an organization that can scale? How do we build an A-player leadership at every single seat? And how do we work on your culture and build your culture that everybody in your business has a culture of ownership and responsibility? And once those two fundamentals are in place, scale profit. How do we build an operations engine that scales reliably? How do we build a marketing and sales engine that drives growth? And then how do we convert all of that into significant increases in profitability, valuation, and cash? That's the model. So what you've seen today is one of 5 tools in that bottom middle green thing. If you have questions about any of that, need help with any of that, reach out. I'm very happy to help you. So your next step, please finish your dashboard. Set the right KPIs and roll it out to your team. And you can, with that AI prompt, which you can adapt, or reach out to me in a game plan session. I can help you with the AI prompts for the other pieces. We can fundamentally change your business very quickly. If you'd like to have a game plan session, 30 minutes, complimentary, Crystal, I think, I know she's put the links into the chat. Please reach out and book a session. I'd love to have a conversation, and let's just see where it goes. Okay, so that's me for the day. I promised to finish by 12:30. It's 12:16, so I've got some time for any questions if you'd like. Okay, guys, if there's no questions, we might wrap it up. Please don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, thank you. Have a great rest of Friday.